Department of Justice has a duty to defend the Constitution of the United States and to uphold the rule of law. Today, we fulfill that duty by filing the lawsuit I have just described.
Texas now faces a lawsuit filed by the Department of Justice over its new abortion law that went into effect this month. The new law, Senate Bill 8, bans abortions as early as 6 weeks. CBS Austin's Lindsay Regas has the latest on this lawsuit.
Today, after a careful assessment of the facts and the law, the Justice Department has filed a lawsuit against the state of Texas.
Senate Bill 8 bans abortions as early as 6 weeks and allows private citizens to sue anyone who performs an abortion or helps someone to get an abortion.
The United States is basically claiming that Texas, by passing SB 8, is interfering with the constitutional right of women under present law to have an abortion before the fetus is viable.
Seth Chandler, law professor at the University of Houston.
So the real issue, though, is how does the unconstitutionality of that law get established? The current law is that states are not permitted to gratuitously interfere with abortions prior to the fetus being viable, and no one thinks that a 6 or 7 week old fetus is viable.
Medical providers like Planned Parenthood say banning abortion in Texas doesn't change the need for abortion.
So one of the options that we're offering people is that you can still go out of state to get the care that you need. Many people are able to do that, but we also know that some people just can't do that.
Chandler expects the Department of Justice to file a motion for a temporary restraining order in federal court, asking the judge to issue a preliminary injunction barring enforcement of Senate Bill 8.
I think it's clear that the substance of SB 8 is unconstitutional under present law, and sooner or later we're going to get a court deciding that.
Governor Greg Abbott released a statement in response to this lawsuit. Abbott said in part, the most precious freedom is life itself, and he is confident that the courts will uphold and protect that right to life.
Adoption is not an alternative to abortion. Abortion is an alternative to pregnancy that's unwanted. But adoption is an alternative to parenting.
It has been 1 week since Senate Bill 8 became law in Texas. Abortions after 6 weeks are now banned. Some wondering if this will lead to more adoptions. Elizabeth Jurinovich with Abrazo Adoption Agency says it's normal to assume that. However, it isn't the typical outcome.
Every time the state of Texas has restricted abortion access or implemented laws that were intended to promote adoption, it seems to have the opposite effect.
Jurinovich says it's too early to know if adoptions will increase or decrease. If the demand to adopt does increase, she and Vera Marquez, Director of Placement Services at ABC Adoption, say both their agencies are prepared.
There are 40 families waiting for every one baby that's placed for adoption nowadays.
There are so many families waiting to adopt, so I don't see a problem in finding families in case there is, this huge increase.
Right now, Jurinovich's biggest concern is what could happen to the children.
My fear is that what we're going to see is a mass increase in the number of children who are subject to abuse or neglect.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing.
Now, on the path forward, President Biden laying out a stern message against the unvaccinated and calling for another huge vaccine mandate affecting millions of Americans. Businesses and local officials making their voices heard throughout the day on how they feel. So what comes next?
News 4 San Antonio's Amanda Henderson looked into that and breaks down what you can expect.
Today, reaction is pouring in after President Joe Biden announced new vaccine mandates. Federal employees are now required to be vaccinated, and companies with 100 or more employees must mandate vaccinations or test employees weekly who are not vaccinated.
I've talked to a number of businesses who have already put their own mandates for employees in place, and I think with the president's action today, you're going to see more businesses do that.
We spoke with attorney Tim Maloney about what might happen next.
Inevitable legal challenges will start almost immediately.
Governor Greg Abbott's spokeswoman says, in part, quote, "Our office has already reached out to the Office of the Attorney General to halt this power grab. The federal government needs to stop trying to run private businesses." We asked Mayor Ron Nirenberg about this statement.
I think the judges said it very clearly. The governor and the attorney general have done everything they can to step into the middle of mitigation efforts to combat the pandemic.
Maloney says there will likely be an endless domino effect from today's announcement.
The question is, what administrative penalties are going to be in place to enforce that?
We reached out to several companies. Walmart says they're requiring all employees to be vaccinated by October 4th. Toyota says they are aligned with actions that will help eradicate or curtail the pandemic, and USAA says they will review requirements once they are issued.
This is Rosemary McGarity. She's 21 years old now, but she spent several months in foster care until she aged out of the system 3 years ago.
When aging out of foster care, it did become a little difficult starting off with, getting or trying to get your own apartment, trying to find new work, getting on your feet, doing things at the age of 18 that most 18-year-olds aren't really doing, but needing to do in order to live.
That's where the Department of Family and Protective Services steps in. They realize that finding your footing after being in foster care isn't easy, especially since the pandemic has taken a toll on many people's finances.
That makes us excited to be able to help them in this time of need, because we know it's difficult to not have a job or just have limited resources at this time.
There are two programs, one in which a former fostered young adult is paired with what's called a preparation for adult living specialist. The specialist works with them to pinpoint what their immediate needs are and how much money they need. Federal pandemic funds go directly to the Texas Department of Family Protective Services to assist those young adults ages 18 to 26. More funds are being allotted to the program after September 30th, and there's no deadline to sign up.
They helped me out with rent, helped me out with groceries, made sure that I had food on my table and that I had a roof over my head.
The other option is PAN-Aid. That's for former foster care adults ages 18 to 26. Those funds come from community distribution partners, and eligible young adults can receive up to $1,000. That deadline is next week, September 15th.
So it's really important that our young adults have those funds to take care of themselves, to become more self-sufficient and independent.